So we're going to approach the squash and stretch part of our bouncing ball in this video. Um, let's go ahead and clean up our scene a little bit though. I noticed that I had initially had you guys set some keys here, and I think we don't really need those. So I'm going to select this top NURB circle, and then on one, I'm going to double click with my left mouse button the entire timeline. And actually what we could do, just to make sure, is in our NURBS, or sorry, our graph editor, if we have this selected, I can hold shift and select all of these different values that are keyed, and then just press the delete key on my keyboard. Oops, sorry, we want to right click. Let's select all of these, and then actually scroll out and then highlight all of these keys and then press delete. So now we don't have any values, and I want to just make sure these are all set to 0. Oh, or I'll make sure this is 0.5. That's an example of when we should have froze transform. Let's see if I could still do that. Uh, let's bring this back up a little bit and modify freeze transformation. There we go. So now it's always going to be set to 0 regardless. All right, so that's pretty good. So the keys are gone. We want to select all of these by holding shift, scroll out, drag a big marquee and clean this out. And the reason for that is once our ball hits the ground, what we're going to do, and actually let's just go ahead and start animating this out. So select your middle curve here. And remember that our ball hits the ground on 24, or I'm sorry, rolls off on 24, lands on 32. And what we needed to do is we need to copy this key onto this frame, right? We want it to hold because the actual squash of this doesn't happen until one frame later. So I'm going to click my middle wheel, my middle mouse, on 34. Notice that it didn't do anything in the scene to change it. It just showed us where these curves were in the next scene or next section, and that's okay. Now what I can do is I can just highlight these two, right click and key selected. Let's take a look at how that looks. You can see now it holds it on frame 34. And the reason I had this zeroed out is because what we're going to do on this frame is I'm going to push this down, pull this up, right? And then, actually, let's do this one more time. So we want to key on 33 these all on 0. So let's select this, hit S to set a key, and then we're going to select this one, S to set a key. And then when we go to 34, when we go to push this up or squash this, like that, you'll notice it creates our squash. And we need to set a key on 0. And then if we want it to unsquash, if we just type a 0 here, it'll return to its actual size. Okay? So right here on 34, notice we're also sort of levitating off of the floor a little bit. See that? So we need to bring on 34, we need to make sure that our sphere is touching the ground. So now it looks like it's collapsing in and on itself. See that? Maybe we'll pull it up just a little bit. Like this. So as it falls, let's take a look at how that looks. All right. And we're going to have it return to its initial size. So what I'm going to do here is I know that it falls again on 56, right? So on 56 with this middle one selected, I'm going to middle mouse click on 57, right? Hit S to set a key. So you can see here now it just, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to select this. Here's 56, middle mouse click on 57. Select both of these values and key selected so it locks those in. Looks like we're still sliding. Here's 56. Middle mouse. I want to key selected, lock that value in. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to copy that, go to 57, paste it in, press enter. And it could be also that if we're looking at our translate X here, I might be getting a little bit of sliding between these two keys. Oh, you know what it is? There's no key on translate 8 on X on 56. So on, let's do this again. So I'm actually going to middle mouse here, and then key selected here. Yeah, see now it's set a key. So now it shouldn't shift that at all. Yeah, I was missing that key on 56. You probably noticed that sometimes when you're recording these or teaching it, is a lot on your mind. You're thinking about the next step rather than the first, which could be a problem. So let's do this. Let's look at this again. Squashes, bounces, holds for a second, and then the same thing on 72. I'm going to select this. Let's roll over there. It looks like I do have a key on Translate X. So if I middle mouse to 73, I can set a key. I'm just going to hold that value. All right, so let's work on the actual squashing and stretching part, right? So we know that it hits on 33. Let's zoom in a little bit here. All right, so we have this squashing. And then on 35, what I want to do is actually stretch it out a little bit. And we might need to go a little higher here. Move our ball up. So we get, see that nice little bloop. All right, let's do the same thing down here. And all these values are going to get tweaked anyway. So let's select this guy, scroll all the way down here. 55. We have 56 here. Actually, what's really cool is we can have it on frame 36. And I'm just setting them one apart just for now. He stretches 36. Type a 0 value here so it returns to its normal size. So we get something like this. Shoo, nice stretch. Looks really cool. Okay, let's select this one. And then here's 56. And we could actually just go in here, look at these values. We have a, let's do minus, what was it, 0.17? Was that right? Yeah. And then we probably have a positive, let's do positive 0.17 here. And then it stretches out, so boom. And then over here, we'll do the same two values. So we're going to scroll all the way here, and then 57 will be minus 0.17, and then we're going to do positive 0.17, and then we can just kind of push this down to the floor. And then what were the values? Let's see for this. Let's do 0.09. That might give it a little bit more interest, and this is probably minus 0.09. And then let's go over here. We have our 56 is our initial landing pose, so our Y is 0 here. It's like it looks normal at this point. There we go. And then 57 it squashes, and then we're going to go minus, we want to do 0.09 here, and then minus 0.09 here. Or was it 0.9? Let's see, minus, that's not, minus, let's take a look. What did I have this at? For my stretch, 35, I had it at 0.09, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, we want that on 58 too. Let's go ahead and delete these two keys here. So I just right clicked on the keys. There we go. We're normal, squashed, up, minus 0.09. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than there. Oh, I'm sorry, the top one is point. There we go, that's why, okay. This one is minus 0.09. And then I'm gonna move it just slightly above here a little bit, help it out to really emphasize that. All right, let's watch that. A little bit of that squash and stretch. It might need to be exaggerated a little bit more. All right, and we can actually stretch or extend those out a little bit too, so they're more pronounced. Because if we watch this from our front view, well, let's go to our front view rather. When we play that, it's very subtle. It's almost a little bit too natural, and I want to exaggerate a little bit. All right, we'll take a look at all that stuff in the next video.